Welcome back to the Community Watch segment of the Precious Morning Show. My name is Makmati Lawe. I've been joined on set by two wonderful gentlemen. Adib Saani is a security expert, as well as Emmanuel J.K. Arthur is also a media practitioner. Today we'll be looking at a myriad of issues. We'll start off with tackling fraudulent activities for obvious reasons. We have the banking sector blues, as well as Analyst expose, the number 12 expose, and several issues coming up. These are fraudulent, or as fraudulent as they could get. And we'll also be looking at safeguarding the home against attacks. So in as much as we are looking at the broader space, we're also looking at our homes, and we'll come to the data revolution in Ghana. So everything seems to be datalized now. Maybe we can have that discussion when it comes to security as well, how we can engage modern trends to secure ourselves. Then we'll wrap it up with addressing contentions over demolition exercises. That also seems to be a security issue to understand. So we'll be seeking more insight on that with the security experts. So, gentlemen, precious morning to you. Precious morning. And good to have you here. It's been a while. Both of you, you've neglected us. We can't. Okay, so
certainly not possible.
Not possible, eh? Very well. Let's start the discussion off then with tackling fraudulent activities. And Emmanuel, you've been following the news, and I mean, we've all seen where Ghana is headed to. Are we safe? Do you think there is any hope for the future?
Well,
but you should know that the younger generation is even more fraudulent than the older ones. Maybe go and check the SRCs, and you can imagine what's happening there.
True, and also because the older people during their time they didn't have all these gadgets.
Yeah,
we get exposed to these things. So, anyway, let me say good morning to our viewers out there, and I want us to start with ourselves as individuals. What we do to expose ourselves to fraud or to fraudulent activities. There was something that during the vetting of Martin Amidu, he said, as a special public prosecutor, he said that people put a lot of information about themselves on social media without knowing what they are doing. And so for him, as an anti-corruption person, he's looking out for all the things that you have written there, the photos you have put there, the things you have said there. And he's looking out for how he can capitalize on those things to if it is money, retrieve them from you. If it is getting anybody arrested, to answer questions. Point is, we often do those things without knowing the consequences. And so I have seen a lot of people, they are traveling abroad, and they've updated their Facebook that they are gone, or they are at the airport, or they are in the plane, and sometimes just for people to know that, I mean, just for flexing purposes, you know. But you don't know that when you do those things, you are telling the criminal next door that you are not home, that your wife and children are left there alone. And if you are traveling with your wife and children, you are just simply telling everybody that my home is empty. So you can come and raid or ransack the home. It is something that we do that we must put a stop to it. I am also on the broader scale taking the banking fallouts into consideration. I'm one of the people who are for the early passage of the Right to Information Bill.
How beneficial would that be?
I mean, it's the only vehicle with which we, for instance, we in the media can use to get the necessary information. Otherwise, even if the way information is handled in this country, I mean, I can't walk to a bank managing director and ask him certain questions. If the act was in place, I would have followed it and then addressed my concern to the relevant authorities, and I would have gotten the information, which I would have published to educate the rest of the people. But here, all of us have been left in the dark, and we wake up one morning and the banks are gone.
Is this to suggest that, not to digress of the issue though, is this to suggest that you are against the holding of the in-camera parliamentary inquiry into this issue?
Certainly. I think it is something I've written about it. This is something that is of huge public interest. Every single person seems to have an interest in that.
But the security aspects could disagree, though. They will tell you that some issues pose national security threats, and it could lead to loss of investor confidence, and these are all security matters. So,
what I have not done is to look at what happened in America with ours in terms of figures. But we saw what happened in America was on TV. We all saw it, people being questioned, people answering questions. What happens is that we then, all of us then get the opportunity to learn from what happened. And so, especially our colleagues in the banking sector, if there are any lessons, they will learn, and then we prevent such an occurrence. But if you go into a corner and go and hear, sometimes there's also the temptation that the media reports or the coverage will also be censored and all that. I don't think that at the end they will be doing good to ourselves.
So you're against them holding it in camera, and what are your thoughts on that as well? Do you side with him that they shouldn't hold some sort of a conclave and decide what to publish and what not to publish after the revelations? So might like to be thrown on that shortly into the discussion. But Adib, let me come to you right away. Tackling fraudulent activities in Ghana. We are in interesting times.
Very interesting.
We are in interesting times in this country. And in as much as these are serious issues, sometimes I just want to laugh them off, just to assure myself that the future is bright. But is there any hope for Ghana?
Thank you very much, and thank you very much for this opportunity. A very good morning to your viewers. Indeed, there's hope for Ghana once we put all the necessary mechanisms, protocols, capacitates the institutions to address these issues.
But currently, what do the figures suggest?
You see, in 2016, we had a cyber policy document which was passed by Parliament and became law. And it provides certain pillars to dealing with the issue of specifically cybercrime. And one of the ways it is proposing is for widespread awareness creation on the need for people to exercise the greatest deal of circumspection when dealing with cyber activities. And it also called for the building of capacity of persons and institutions charged with handling cyber issues. From the police to the military to even civil society organizations. Okay, and it also called for the provision of the needed materials to confront this cyber threat that has become very global and is posing a much more serious security threat to countries all across the world than even missiles or bombs. Okay, so the threat is real. As to what extent that policy has been implemented is what I cannot really tell for now. But before I come to the nitty-gritty, if you are called by anyone promising you a contract to buy chemicals for water treatment, don't waste your time. Just tell him to go find a job. When you are called by someone telling you that, oh, I mistakenly sent you money, mobile money, and I want you to send it back to me, and you take a closer look at the message and it's from 024020027, just ignore the person. Okay, recently a lady I know at the station cried as if her whole world has ended because she has saved lots of money over a period of some few months, amounting to about 6,000, then decided to lodge the money into her mobile money wallet, only for her to be called the next minute that, oh, the money she paid into her mobile money wallet is not actually cash, it's data, and the person is calling from MTN, so she should return the money to this specific number so they reprocess it into cash for her, else she would lose the money. And due to ignorance, I mean, she sent the money to that number only for her to realize later it was a fraudulent activity.
I see.
So the threat is real. It's happening by the day. And as basic as that might sound to you, as immature-ish it might sound to you, there are so many people out there who are not very well educated when it comes to
this
activities of this nature.
But Adib, you would agree with me that some individuals could be smart enough to deal with such issues, but nowadays the fraudulent activities have become more sophisticated. The individuals perpetrating these crimes are in suit and tie. It's very because the most recent one that I heard was that, you know how you go to the banking hall and there's a queue there.
Yeah.
So they entered the hall, there was a queue there, and they were all in the queue, frustrated for one reason or another. And a gentleman just comes down from upstairs, and he's like, hey, how much money do you have? How much do you have? How much do you have? Asking people in the queue. They all gave him answers, and it was like he comes in here, he was like, okay, so he's upstairs, he can process your transaction for you quickly. He took all those money, so you can imagine how much money we were talking about. He took all those monies from them in the banking hall with a security guard and all those people present. And he just walked up, he climbed up again. There was an exit route from the other side. He descended and walked out to escape the banking hall just like that.
Yeah,
this is another level of sophistication. Okay, it might seem calm, but it takes another level of boldness to do this.
Yes, this is an old trick.
Really?
Yes, has been happening for a very long time now. Because the first time I heard about this was about 5 years ago at a bank branch at Spintex. And the gentleman came and made it look like
he works there.
In the face of customers. And on the other hand, he made it look like he's already acquainted with the people in the face of the bank staff. Okay, and he was able to get away with a lot of money. And the lady who was duped was so very pissed off. She insisted that the bank take responsibility for what happened. Okay, you see, there are two issues to this. Okay, we have the highly sophisticated people who are even able to use Pringles bottle, okay, or packaging to hack into a banking software or banking system. Recently, we had a group of young Ghanaians and some foreigners who were able to hack into one of the banks in the country,
UMB,
and stole about 300 million. Okay, and they were withdrawing the money from various ATMs, and I'm sure in the attempt to withdraw a large sum of money in the banking hall, they were arrested. Okay. But you see, I meet so many people who tell me, I don't like banking softwares, I don't like mobile money, I don't like this because of the instance of hackers. Okay, but the real threat, like 90% of the threat, is what we call in security analysis social engineering. I mean, someone's ability to call you to get you to dupe yourself for him. And the mobile money fraud we're talking about is social engineering. Okay. Somebody calling your bank and behaving like you're the one. I mean, your voice, your mannerism, his ability to convince the bank staff that, yes, I'm the owner of that account, and getting through to that account is what we call social engineering. And that is the real threat today. Okay, it's very important that the ordinary citizens are also conscious of our security environment. I mean, we cannot rely hook, line, and sinker on the authorities. They also have their own issues to deal with, and they also, as a matter of fact, have a role to play in that regard. But from the very personal level, I mean, the individual level, we all have a role to play. We need to be very circumspect. Like my brother rightly pointed, we are so careless with our social media habits. I mean, someone wakes up in the morning, you know whether the person has bathed hot water or cold water. You know the school the children attend. You know what time he leaves for work, what time he arrives, what time they leave from work, what time they arrive home. You see, when it happens, criminals use it to build what we call a profile. All right, and they're able to break into your house. In fact, they would even watch TV, relax, drink coffee, because they know what time you get home. Okay, they know where your children are schooling. And now there's a dangerous trend ongoing. It's on social media. You see people behaving like parents going to school to pick children. So lately, I've seen lots of these schools proposing that parents should bring their IDs and photographs, so they will be able to identify them before picking their children. So we need to all have a role to play in that regard.
Very well. Now, Emmanuel, safeguarding our homes. How secured is your home?
Normally, the rich people have very secured homes.
No, but you're also rich. You are not bad at all. At least you pay the luxury vehicle tax.
I wish. But I on my own, I've made sure that the little I can do, the home is secure.
Okay.
And it starts from somewhere. Making sure that in this country how things happen. Yesterday we were all confronted with the story of the pastor and the pastor's wife and the kids and the mom who died in the fire outbreak at Dansuman. And what happens in this country is that we build ourselves prisons. We imprison ourselves structures, and then we imprison ourselves in it.
But that's security.
Calling it a home, But it's not our fault. It's security precautions.
Yeah.
Like my friend will say. But just make sure that you have taken the basic steps to facilitate entry and easy exit in case there's a disaster.
But how basic or how secure can a basic security setup be? Okay, because if you do not put they call it burglar proof, right? You do not put a burglar proof there, and you just have some shallow something there, people will just break in easily, and they might even dismantle that one too away because they need it.
I will have the burglar proof there and make sure that things are tight.
So then you built yourself a prison there.
Sure, but what then you need to do then is to make sure that within the house you have taken certain steps.
Okay.
For instance, I always let my wife know that she has her own set of keys, and she also I insist that there's a particular place she must deposit it, and it must be close to her, especially in the night, so that in case there's anything
unforeseen occurrence,
you can easily rush for it and then open and get out.
Okay, very well. This is what Emmanuel has done. What have I done to secure myself? Well, not much, but at least we have the expert with us here. So, Adib, you've heard Emmanuel.
Yes.
Is he well secured? Keys being around
to some extent.
Not building yourself presence.
You don't have to be rich to be able to secure yourself.
Really?
Sometimes we are tempted to believe that you have to be rich, you have to have money to be able to buy some of the security gadgets. I do agree with them to an extent, but most of burglaries that happen is due to our negligence. Okay, because you have criminality is serious business. You have them roaming in the night looking for the softest spots, okay, or the softest target to pick. So when you leave your doors open or not well secured enough, obviously you become an easy prey to these individuals. On the other hand, you can use gadgets. As we speak, I'm watching what is happening in my house. As you can see, I can see the children. They're in the living room. I think they are watching cartoons. And I can see my kitchen. I can see all around my house 24/7. Okay, and
is it an app?
No,
maybe show it to your camera. Show it to your camera for viewers to
system.
See how it works. You see, so it's almost like that's live video, right?
Yes, that's live video. You get me?
Okay, so at least now the thieves know that they cannot come to Adib's house.
So
he can monitor.
There are some alarm systems that can also be taken advantage of. Okay, and so this what we usually do.
Very well.
And apart from that, we have some other gadgets here that you can use to safeguard your home. You see, I have a security firm, and 90% of my customers are people who have been burgled before. We wait for it to happen before we...
The reactionary nature of
Exactly,
Ghanaians.
rather than being proactive. Okay, so it's very prudent that you take all measures possible, you put all measures possible in place to forestall any such, activity from happening in the first place, rather than wait. Then when it happens, we start running helter-skelter. Okay?
So what do you have to show us this morning?
There are a number of camera systems you can have at home, but before that, there are also alarm systems, and this is as cheap as 30 cedis. Okay, on the market, I don't have any.
But wait, let me ask you this. How effective is an alarm system if you are not around? I mean, it can only be effective if you are in the home.
Good. Sometimes
So
when you are sleeping, you feel someone is coming in, is invading your privacy. To be sure, you need to have this alarm system. And some criminals, when they break into homes and an alarm is triggered, it scares them off.
Okay.
Okay, you don't.
Then they are not hardened enough.
No.
You have
Of course, when the alarm draws the attention of neighbors.
Yeah,
Okay. And this, for instance, is very easy. You don't need an engineer to install this. It's a sticker you put on the door frame, and of course the door itself. Okay. So when you're going to bed, what you do is you put it on. Okay. Immediately someone tries to open your door, the alarm will trigger, and it's very loud. This battery is old, so the sound is even come down a bit. Okay. Then we have some also, there are camera systems, that you would hide in your home. Nobody would know you have cameras. So in case you have workers or you suspect someone is touching your things in your absence, you can have this camera. This is a cloth hanger, but it's a camera. Okay. Then this is also a picture frame. You can have it on your dressing mirror. Okay. And it's a camera. Okay. And you can, as a matter of fact, see what is happening in real time on your phone, because all these comes with softwares, applications that can be installed on your phone. Then we have some other ones. This is let me see. Okay, this one, it is hiddenly installed in the home. Nobody would know there's a camera in the house. Then we have some also for like your office. Maybe you have a feeling that someone comes to your desk to pick some things. This is a clock. A digital clock.
It looks executive.
You can put it on your desk, and it's a camera. We have a similar one here. It's also okay. No, this is different. We have one here. Let me see. Okay, this is like a smoke detector. Okay, it's a smoke detector, but it's a camera you can have at home. And this is a socket, an electric socket. It works fine. It can charge your phone. It can do everything. but it's a camera you can have at home. And we have a mirror. It's a dressing mirror, and it's also a camera you can have at home. Okay, there are other cameras that I cannot show on TV.
Okay,
as I sit here, I have some cameras on me, but how would you be able to?
I see.
Yes, I do have some cameras on me. So these are some of the basic steps we can.
Your bridge.
No, it's not the bridge. It's far from the bridge, because these are common. It's far from the bridge. It's far from the watch. We now have highly sophisticated hidden or pinhole camera systems that can be used. Okay, but away from that, we also need to exercise a great deal of circumspection in our homes. Okay, when you're leaving the home, like my brother rightly put it, don't let everybody know, the whole world know you are going to America. Yes, you want everybody to know. Okay, sometimes what you do is you leave without anybody knowing, and you ensure that there's security lights outside. To some extent, some people even put on a sound system close to the main entrance, so it keeps on playing. people are tempted to believe that there's someone at home always. Okay, now we have some automated lighting systems. In the night, it comes on. When daybreak breaks, it goes off. Okay, and if you are a single lady, especially, and you invite someone into your home to fix an electric socket or a plumber to fix your sink, please don't let him know you live there alone, because most of the time we are beguiled by people we actually know or we engage. Okay, so sometimes what I advise my customers to do is, whilst he's working, you can say at a distance, say, honey, how are you? Honey, please, I'm busy, I'll be with you shortly, I hope you're okay, just to send a clear signal to the gentleman that there's someone at home who is a man. Okay, and you see, sometimes when we are leaving the house, because we share the same apartment with people, we leave the keys at certain places. Either the commonest is under the doormat.
The doormat. Everyone knows the doormat.
Everybody knows the doormat. Okay. Sometimes you can leave it with a neighbor you can trust to some extent. They say if you don't want a thief to steal from you, you leave that thing under his custody. So these are some of the basic steps we can actually take to ensure some level of safety.
Very well. We have already gone beyond the understand the data revolution in Ghana, because of course with this we can clearly see how digitalized we have become as a nation, and how are we becoming dependent? I don't think so, but very soon we could be dependent on these things. But don't you see any difficulties coming out of, because machines can fail, equipment can fail?
Yes, equipments do fail sometimes. Okay, but it is only proper that at least once in a month you do some troubleshooting, just so you are sure that it works. Okay. You don't have to wait until something happens. So you need to be very careful in order that you don't have it fail. Sometimes when machines fail, it's due to our negligence.
Rather. Okay. Okay. Emmanuel, so understanding the digital revolution in Ghana, we have seen some this morning. Are you pleased, and do you think we have enough understanding and appreciation for these things?
Yes, I think so. But what we have to do is there's something he mentioned much earlier in the discussion about awareness creation and education. The two is what I think we need to hammer on.
Awareness creation and education.
Because when I'm in the banking hall and I'm well educated, and the guy comes and says that, give me the money and let me go upstairs, and you should be smart enough to know that, let me go with you to the upstairs, I give you the money.
But realistically speaking, this can work on any of us, especially when you're in a hurry and you know how this whom you know system works in Ghana.
No.
You quickly want to pass through an easier channel to get issues resolved.
No, I mean, I have been confronted with an issue like that. I've mentioned the bank's name, EcoBank, the head office. The guy comes and said, all those of you here, come follow me. And we follow you. You didn't come and say, give me the money and I'll go upstairs. Exactly. I will want to follow you. So you will get to that place. Yes, bank, I process for you. I take my receipt, I go. That's the kind of thing that we need to do. About this thing, sometimes to the way we live with our neighbors. Yeah. Look, you are in your, you think that you are the only educated one around the hood, the artisans and the people who sleep in the uncompleted houses. They are not human beings. So you drive in and out, driving, saying hi to them and all that. They might not be the ones to attack you, but they will go for an external people to come and attack you. So the way we relate to people in the hood, then they can serve us. In most instances, you may not need to fall on some of these things. But you know what they say, that in Africa, you don't need alarms to wake you up. Your problems alone will wake you up. So the way we relate to people around us, what we see to them is very, very important.
Well, to add to what, I have a friend who moved into a new neighborhood, I mean, somewhere around Oibi, and there are no buildings. He's, I think, one of the very few people who live. Next to him is an uncompleted building, and they are weed smokers. So he was complaining to me, my brother, I'm scared. And I told him, look, you can use them to protect yourself. It all depends on your interaction with them. So we went went. I mean, I went with him. I approached, hey, my brother, how are you doing? We shook, then we exchanged some few coins, and I told him, this is your brother. Please make sure he's safe. And trust me, now he doesn't even need security. They are providing security for him. So, I mean, our interaction with our neighbors, people who live in our communities, is very key. I'm not saying you open your doors to them 24/7, no, but we can still take advantage of their existence to ensure some safety at home. Meanwhile, there's one other I didn't show you. It's a wall clock. It's a normal clock. There's absolutely nothing about it that shows it's a camera. You can have that one too and monitor it 24/7.
Okay. Well, now let's move to addressing contentions over demolition exercises in Ghana. Before then, let me open the phone line 02071000001. I'm engaging Adib Saani, a security expert, and Emmanuel J.K. Arthur, who is a media practitioner on a litany of issues. We have looked at all of them, but now we're moving to addressing conditions of contentions over demolition exercises. So I would start off with Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you have built at a place you're not supposed to build. Moving has become a problem. Do we even have to discuss this? I think that if it's not your property, you should move. If it's not the land doesn't belong to you, you cannot come and squat here and expect us to come and engage when you are asked to leave. You are a squatter. You are asked to leave and you want engagement and settlement for exactly what? Then anyone will be squat. Then tomorrow I'll go and build on Adib's land. When he comes to tell me tomorrow, I'll tell him that he should settle me before I move because I spent money to put up a structure on his land.
Sure. So what you are saying? So I'm supposed to move?
Yes.
Because the land is not mine.
Yes.
Or I am not supposed to build that way.
You, in any case, if I wasn't in the country and you built, you have to move. If I was the government,
so I'm supposed to move. Fine.
Yes.
But we often take advantage of the ineptitude and inefficiencies of our officials and our institutions. Where were you when I started building?
Granted.
So
the roads removed now, and you were able to grease a few palms, and you are there now. They want you to leave because there's a project coming up and it has become an issue. People are now cursing, others are saying all manner of things, and they will show the government come 2020.
That's the common scenario we know. There was a project I was doing somewhere, and so when I started, the guys came and said, okay, come and regularize you. So I went and I decided to stop the whole project and make sure that I invest into the paperwork because I didn't want any problem. I have done everything. It just left with the issuance of the document. So today it's been close to 1 year. So did you put weight on the? I have done everything that I'm supposed to do. In fact, there are receipts to show that I have done.
No, did you put weight on the documentation?
The weight is even bigger than the what. Look, so am I supposed to sit and wait for this 1 year?
No.
Look at the cost of cement. Look at the cost of fuel. Everything is going up, and so the land there, it belongs to me. That one I have title, everything to it. But see, we're talking about permit to do the work, and so I must sit and wait for you, so that when I go ahead and do. When you come and say I didn't have permit, and so move or we're going to.
So what are you blaming it?
I'm blaming it on the inefficiencies of our officials. And the fact that in this country we lack the ability to implement our laws. You understand? So if that it's not supposed to be done from day one, prevent the thing from happening, than waiting till it has happened, then we take an action. It's not
okay, Adib, you've heard him, inefficiencies of the state institutions and our officials, as well as he's saying that the laws are there but they're not working. From a security angle, what do you think?
I think it's I agree with you. I mean, with the issue of inefficiencies with our institutions, but it's also due to the glorification of lawlessness and the culture of impunity. The problem is we had in the past a land administration project that lasted about 15 years. And I'm sorry to say, it was sponsored by the World Bank, but I'm sorry to say it was a useless effort because nothing came out of it. To date, we still have people using 5-10 years before they get land titles. I mean, for crying out loud, how big is it a deal to be able to secure a land title? When you go to other countries, such as Rwanda, it takes you maximum 3 days.
They have digitalized the system.
Exactly, and you have.
But we haven't gotten there
The
yet.
problem is, we are even beyond that level. But you see, some people feed on the inefficiencies. For crying out loud, my brother, you would be able to secure a passport if really the system works fluidly without any greedy bastard, so to speak, truncating it. You'll be able to secure your passport by applying today, and by the close of the day, you'll be able to secure it. Okay, but the problem is when things are done smoothly, there are some people who wouldn't be able to feed. Okay, from driver's license acquisition to passport to land title and all that. You see, but when we are able to get rid of these bad nuts, okay, who are hell bent, okay, on making sure people are frustrated, and so the only way they can go about things is to pay money, we should be doing ourselves a lot of good. We have situations where a chief would sell one land to 10 people. I mean, and that is what is causing all these issues regarding land guards who easily metamorphose into armed gangs, armed robbers,
Adib, I'll come back to you, but we have our first caller on the line. Precious morning to your name and location, please.
My name is Vincent, calling from Kumasi.
Hello.
We were discussing about...
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Well, we can't hear you in the studio, so I'd plead with you to call back so we can hear what you have to say to us on this very issue. But back to you, Adib. You were saying that you got to the land gas metamorphosing.
Yes, and this poses a serious security dilemma to the country. The issue of land is very critical,
yes, very
to
critical.
our security. And I also said the culture of impunity, because you see people doing the wrong thing, hoping that when it's demolished, he will be compensated. He knows what he's doing is the wrong thing. I think it's high time we bit the bullet. I mean, we ignore all this big manism because he's a big man. He's built on a waterway. Nothing can be done about it.
I'll come to you to find out how we can deal with this, but I have a caller. So, Precious morning, your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning, Mr. Mathmati.
Good morning, Edie. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Great.
Then I listen to your question. I especially want my brother, Adib, President Mubarak, and all Muslims who watching this program today, and including Precious Tea. Some of Matthew, let me just say something about what my brother Adib said about this our this thing, passports, whatever. How he said, when you go and see, let's say 1,500 or 3,000, you will just issue the passport for you just a day, even not less than 3 hours. As he said, as a country which we fail to progress, is always using foreign countries to make a comparison. And for you, always we are using America, Europe, and make a comparison. These people will and speak, always having opportunity to come and speak to Ghanaians, but we don't have that capacity to speak something which is the honorable, which is very, very confused. You need to the craft budget. We don't have job to do. I want to tell you, there's a word which this government came. We are a jobless, and today banks are also collapsing. What are we going to achieve as a citizen of this country? A president will come, a president will go. I do not even think that, let us do something which people of this country will benefit. Go back, as my brother said, take example, a reference with Rwanda. Rwanda fought and they even killed more than millions of their citizens. And today, people are using Rwanda. You can't even understand. People call themselves professors, whatever.
Hello? Okay.
People call themselves professors and whatever. And you don't even know what they are using for their profession. Because who built the country, who built the nation, they are the players in the country. A carpenter will work for the whole day, they will pay him $20 Ghana. Some companies, they need to pay them 60. So for the old man, they will take not less than 300 Ghana or 350 Ghana. And we are calling ourselves professional or whatever. I have mercy on this country. Have a good morning.
Good morning to you, Edie. Are the educated ones failing us?
Well, we all. I don't want to be protectionist in nature. We are all guilty, my brother. I mean, in one way or the other, we've been complicit in the whole process, because when you go to the passport office because you're frustrated, it still doesn't provide enough justification for you to pay money to anyone.
Yeah,
I mean, immediately that's the problem. But immediately you do that, you are complicit. Sometimes I tell them, look, our problem with the traffic congestion in Accra specifically is not always about the road network. It's about indiscipline. Okay, for example, if you're coming from the Achimota overhead towards the Tetekwashi, immediately after the Achimota overhead, there's a right turn that takes you to I've forgotten the name of the area, but I mean there's
Jolo.
a right turn. No, not Jolo. From Achimota overhead on the main N1 route. Okay. Immediately there's a right turn, but the road still goes straight. Okay, but because some trotro drivers and other persons want to use the right turn, they use the very inner section of the road. Okay, to not join the long queue,
the main road,
and it poses lots of traffic congestion right from the new overhead, linking Abilinkpi.
Let me go back to the phone
La
lines.
Paz.
Precious morning to your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, I'm Tony. I'm calling you.
You're calling from
Yeah.
Sunyan. Okay, talk to us.
Yeah, when you look at some of the things that our leaders or the people are big officers, they are the things that they do to discourage us. Coming for a land title or a building permit, and it's taking me years to get it. Do you think I'll be coming? Nobody will come. Elsewhere, roads are built before the houses are built. Make roads, pipes, everything is there before you. So it's hard for us to go and make things right in Ghana. And let's say we will start slapping people. Seriously. When you look at the way and you need to get something like passport, what like you want to unfortunate to get a passport. At least you should apply to some extent when you get there. You do the final visit. You get to the even airport, when you get there and you are coming out, they want to take you money. What is this? This are Ghana, I think we have to split and then give everybody 20.
You can't split it into 29 million equal parts. It is completely not possible.
When you look at some of the things that are happening, it's not that we can't do it. We are more than capable, but people are not ready to do it. That is all.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. So I believe you are sharing Adib's sentiments as well. But Emmanuel, after listening to Adib, listening to the callers and all, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so I did want that to be diplomatic. I think that I have to call a spade a spade.
Not a two-fold.
The rest of the people in this country have always reposed their confidence in the educated people. Most of the people in politics are the educated ones. And I've said that we should be concerned who goes into politics, because the politicians take decisions that affect our lives. And so who becomes a politician should be a matter of concern to us. Unfortunately, we all sit and watch everybody going into politics, whether they are sensible or not, whether nothing. And they go and take decisions for us. The bridge that collapsed in Italy, that we are learning that the engineer, the designer, warned about this imminent collapse as far back as 1979. But to regularly rehabilitate the bridge was a political decision. If the state or the government or the people who are paid to do it are not willing to do it, this is what has happened. 40 people lost their life. Now we're going to use $500 million to fix the bridge. The same thing happens with the motorway. I mean, to fix the motorway that Kwame Nkrumah built for us since 19 whatever, it's a political decision. Who is in power? Who is the minister for roads? Who is in charge of the Ghana Highways Authority? And so, how many people have died on that road? And now we are going.
But if you blame it on the lack of political will, what then? Who is supposed to hold the politicians to account?
It is us.
And we are not doing that.
It is us. I sat here one day and told you that there's a very good reason why some key institutions, such as the NCCE, is always deprived of funds. Because that is where all politicians know that the NCCE is the most important institution in this country. And what do? They are the ones who are supposed to educate us, open our eyes to some of the tricks of the politician. So that when he comes and say, I fix road, you are supposed to gather courage and tell him that you are supposed to make me an MP and I fix road. Supposed to gather courage and tell him that you do law, you don't fix road.
Hold on, let me go to the phone lines. Precious morning to your name and location. Hello?
Good
yes.
morning.
Good morning. Who am I talking to?
Jonathan.
Jonathan, okay, you're on air. Hello?
Yeah. I
Yes.
really like your program. Really, if I want to do better with my
I can barely hear you, Jonathan. Kindly speak up a bit and reposition yourself. And let's see if I could get better.
I wanted the gadgets and just my gadgets.
You want the gadgets? Okay, so we'll let him. He runs a security firm, so we'll let him leave his contact. Great. I didn't get that, but we'll let him leave his contact after the show. Okay. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for engaging us. So back to you. You were saying that.
Yeah. So
the NCC.
Yeah. So what you do is deliberately deny the NCC the needed funds, so that they will not be able to do the educated masses, so that we politicians can take advantage of their ignorance and then do what we are supposed to do. Otherwise, the buck stops with that. And if you don't do we won't. Why should we even walk in the sun, come and stand in the sun, and come and vote and give you power? When you at the end of the day, you tell me that you can't use that power to cause any positive change in my life.
But what happens to protests and all? It's happening in advanced democracies. Yeah, Adib.
The problem is we cannot rely hook, line, and sinker on state or quasi-state institutions like the NCC to educate the public, because these institutions become propaganda tools. I mean, they become the mouthpiece of the regime. Okay, that is why it's important for citizen participation in this process. How? Through civil society organizations. Okay, we have a number of civil society organizations who can put pressure, mount pressure on these political elites to do what is right. And I can also educate the people at the same time. Okay, because the biggest issue with Ghana is the mentality. Recently, I was interacting with a lady who belongs staunchly to one of the political parties. And I asked her, my dear, what have they done for you? She said nothing. When there's a protest organized by her party, whatever it is, she walks miles because she doesn't even have money to pick a vehicle. And I asked her one day, why are you such an ardent follower of this political party? She said, you see our next door neighbor, I just don't like her. She belongs to the other political party. So because she belongs to I don't like that political party. And that is her reason. You see, when we go beyond the politics of infantility, I mean the politics of convenience, just because this politician belongs to my ethnicity or we're from the same religion and so I'll vote for him. This is what happens to them because they take the people for granted. And luckily for us, I mean, we're becoming more conscious of our political environment over the years, especially since the inception of the Fourth Republic. And it's my hope that going forward into the future, we don't constrict politics to tribalism. and other immature-ish ways of seeing politics.
Are we becoming that conscious of our political surroundings? Send me your comments and I'll read a few messages here. This issue of stealing, if the individual is educated by the word of God to avoid ill-gotten wealth, there wouldn't be the need for all these security wahala. Besides, the church has taken the responsibility to teach vocations so that members will fit well into society. The church needs room to operate and even financial from GH finances. I believe that's what you want. Finances from Ghana to support this effort. If this can be seen and appreciated, then eyes must be off the success of the church. Okay. So I think I got that, and I believe we all got that. Hello, good morning. Aku from Takrady. I'm really enjoying your discussion, but I'm more interested in the security cameras. How and where can I get some? Thanks. Aku will be leaving Adib's contacts when we're done with the show so that you can reach him on that. And he runs a security firm that provides these cameras as well for sale. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for engaging me this morning. If we were to continue with the discussion, it would eat into the other segments. But unfortunately, we have elapsed our time. So I'm really grateful. Emmanuel J.K. Arthur is a media practitioner and Adib Saani is a security expert. Adib, how can people get these gadgets?
When they get in touch with Precious TV, I'm sure you'll be able to give them my contacts.
Okay.
I mean, apart from this, we also run is an NGO that is focused on human security and peace building, empowering the youth so they stay out of trouble and rather use their energies to do something meaningful.
Okay, do you have an email address that corporate organizations can reach you on?
JetK-initiatives@gmail.com.
JetK?
Yes, just the normal JetK.
Okay.
I mean KAY initiatives@gmail.com.
JetK-initiatives@gmail.com to reach Adib. And,
or you can Google my name on
Adib
social
Saani.
media.
Okay. And to those of you who sent us the messages asking for how you can get them, kindly send a reminder to the number you reached us on 0203438710, and we'll let you know how you can. We'll send his details to you so that you would be able to acquire yourself one of these. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We're really grateful. But coming up next is a discussion with an expert, and we'll be talking about how to prevent kidney diseases. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.